Alright, man. So, gotta do a re-up of this video. And I ended up selling the phone that I took the first video on. So, this video will be what caused me to want to level up. When I think back, I want to say it was around, let me see if I can get my microphone just to make sure y'all can hear me. Hold on one second. We back at it. Just, make sure this might work. Alright, we good. Alright. Man, during the pandemic time, how can I put this to where I don't sound? I'll put it like this. During the pandemic time, I was paying bills and having fun. I repeat, I was paying bills and having fun. And I don't know, it was almost like I just hit an epiphany, man. I was just like, this is cool, but I'm not really getting anything accomplished here, right? I had hopes and dreams, right? I grew up the product of a single mother, just a single parent household. And I watched my mom struggle. So me coming of age, I think the biggest thing I wanted to do was to provide a better life for the person who pretty much raised me and made me who I am today. That was one of my main goals, right? And I knew that just by working, right, I was making decent money. I think at the time I was in the 50s, 60s. I think it might have been 60s, some shit like that. Anyway, decent money, but I felt like I was just getting by, right? Just in the back of my mind, I just had this thought, man, hey, you can do more, you can be more. And then I had also my mom just motivate me, man. She was almost like my therapist and my guidance counselor, so just pushing me. And I decided, I was like, man, I gotta figure some shit out. So what I did was, it might be a work email. It is. Hold on, I got a job. Alright, man, we back at it. Man, just being in the house, it somewhat awakened my drive, man, my grind. I wanted more, and I just started to see how I could get more. And what I did was, I locked in. So pretty much I just stayed in the house to myself. I didn't call nobody. I didn't text nobody. I left them freaks alone. The homeboys alone. Even my family. Hey man, sometimes you gotta make sacrifices. I stayed in that room. I studied. I acquired me a new skill. I moved from, at the time I was doing Noctech. So I moved from Noctech from administrator to SOC analyst. And then from stock analyst, I hated the day shift. So I was on the night shift doing stock analyst. I ain't gonna hold you. And I hated that. And it was less money. But it was a chance for me to learn a new skill, man. So I took it and ran with it, man. Hopped in there, learned the skill. From SOC analyst, I stayed there for 8 months. From there, I jumped into a security analyst. And then it just went up from there. But I ended up, once I started to make some moves, make some money, something that I could save, I ended up investing some of my money in stocks. That was cool. After the stock, I ended up starting on my 401k, right? Putting a good chunk of change away for that. And, right, all that was cool, man. But like I said, man, I want to see it now, man. Saving retirement's cool and all that shit, man. But look, hey, man, if I make it to be retirement age, shit, that's 20, 30 years from now. So, hey, man, shit, I gotta go get it now. Just like Bart Durham said, man, I want mine and I want it now. So, I just started looking at other ways that I could start to make this money work for me. And I looked into starting a business, right? First business was cars, transportation. However, man, I'll never do that shit again. So, I purchased 2 whips, 2 vehicles. And I put them on Turo, online platform. And when I tell you that was probably one of the worst things that I could have done, because I cared about what the fuck is this dude hit me up for? I cared about my vehicles, right? Of course, you know, what the hell is wrong with this? We're gonna do you like that, okay. Back at it. What was that? Shit, man, what was my train of thought? So I bought these vehicles, man, these 2 vehicles, and man, people just don't care about your stuff. I wanted these vehicles to last a long time, man, because I wanted them to be my workhorses. I wanted them to bring in some income. Man, people just, man, trifling, brother. They leaving cigarette guts and shit all in between my seats, burning my seats, seeing how far they can go. Seeing how fast they can go, burning rubber, just doing a whole bunch of crazy shit, messing up my tires real quick. messing wheel and axle, having to get a lot of oil changes a lot sooner than need be just because of the wear and tear. People trying to take my car outside of the city, outside of the state, and that's not even it. That's not even a part of the rulings for Turo. Turo just gives people a set number of miles, and they don't really care how far they go. Man, it was trash my shit, bro. Leaving stuff out in the car and stuff like that. I'm having a deep clean. I'm having to just do a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't want to do, man. So I had a terrible experience with that shit, man. I lasted in the game probably about maybe 6 months, man. I was like, man, this ain't it for me. So ended up selling them joints at a loss and just getting out of the game, man. That ain't it for me. So took a little L, and at the same time that was going on, I was looking for a transition because I already knew that the way they was treating my stuff, man, this wasn't gonna last too long. So I was just doing my research and stuff like that, man. And then I looked into real estate, right? Real estate was another way that people earn income, another way that people are able to eventually get to a point to where they're comfortable with living, right? And I just did my research, man. I locked in. I started watching videos on YouTube. I started reading books. There was a lot of books by a company, Bigger Pockets. I was reading a lot of their books. Of course, I read stuff like Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Just a bunch of reads, man. And it opened my mind to this being a possibility, right? A viable possibility that I could see myself in for the long haul. And I just dove in. That's what put me in that mindset to start saving, right? I started saving and took the money that I had from the vehicle and some that I had from saving, dipped a little bit into my 401k, and then I purchased my first spot, right? First spot was in Miami. Terrible choice. Extremely terrible. I'm going to tell you why. Miami is wonderful, right? But Miami is wonderful for all the wrong reasons, right? When it comes to lifestyle, Miami is top tier, right? Extremely expensive, right? So if you're an investor, if you're on the come up, Miami's not it. Wait a while before you try to pursue something like that. If you're already up, right, then Miami's the place you want to be. So, man, I just found myself, this is a multifamily that I bought down there, right? I got multiple units. The purpose of me purchasing this property down there is that I wanted to utilize something called house hack, where you can live in one unit and then rent out the others, right? I get a place to live for cheaper than what I'm paying, and I also get to accommodate others with living. So I ended up buying a property, man. I want to say, man, I lasted probably about 4 or 5 months, y'all. I ain't gonna hold you. Once I got to Miami and I started to settle in, I got me a gym. I started memorizing where the closest grocery stores, the closest shopping centers, the nightlife. Once all of that was in my mental Rolodex, it was a wrap. So I found myself enjoying myself too much down in Miami, right? Which means that, so in order to have fun in Miami, you gotta have some money, right? You gotta have some paper. And what I was doing was I was using the funds that I was getting from my rentals and what I make from work in order to live a good lifestyle in Miami. That was terrible because I was 5 months in and I ain't really saved shit, right? Just paying my mortgage. Mortgage is extremely high. I'm just paying my mortgage. And after I get utilities and shit out of the way, after I get groceries and all that shit and pay all my little bills, and then after I have a good weekend, a decent weekend, it may consist of going out to one of the various restaurants, nice restaurants, eating good. I got a thing for steak, so instead of cooking that shit on my own, which is much cheaper, I'm going out to the steak spots, man, steak houses and shit like that, trying to see who I can mingle with and all that stuff. So, and then the occasional night outing as well. Man, it's just, not only does it get old quick, it counterintuitive to the hustle, right? It's the complete opposite, to be honest. So, man, I just found myself going back into my old ways, similar to how I was during the pandemic in the Ville, in Nashville. Partying, well, not partying, on the weekends having fun and paying bills. That's all I was doing. So, before I fully self-destruct and come across a time where I couldn't pay for something, I was like, hey, I need to switch up the flow because this ain't gonna work for me, right? I was just living it up, man. So I said this ain't gonna last too long. I was starting to meet people and stuff like that, and a couple of my friends and stuff that would come down. They would come down for a few weeks, few months. I even had one homeboy who came from Nashville down to Miami, and of course I got the spot and stuff like that. I asked him if he wanted to rent out a room. Of course he did, right? He stayed with me for about 2 months, about 2.5 months. But man, the cost of living ate him alive, man. He ended up having to go back to the Ville. Yeah, you have to pay rent. You have to keep up with groceries. You have to keep up with your other bills. You have to keep up with a lifestyle. Say, for instance, if you meet a gorgeous girl out there in Miami, you know it is. So, yeah, man, they'll break them. But I didn't want that to be me. So, what I ended up doing was, when I was getting close to my year mark, I started staging my unit for Airbnb, right? So it's already got furniture in there. Shit, I might as well. Some stuff like appliances and stuff like that I had extra, right, from Nashville that I brought. What I did was I ended up packing up some of that stuff and putting it in storage. What I started doing after like a month is I started looking for somewhere else to go. Because I realized like Miami is for me, man. And I like the climate, but everything else, man, is out the way right now. So I started looking up other places that, climates, but have lower cost of living. I stumbled across a few cities. Phoenix, Houston, a bunch of spots in the Midwest. Chicago, Dayton, Kansas City, Missouri, all Lexington, Kentucky, all that stuff. Louisiana. Just thinking between those, I just narrowed down. I was like, man, how's the weather in these places, right? Of course, this, man, I'm one with the sun, man. I'm one with the sun, so I need to be somewhere where it's warm more often than not. So taking into consideration the cities that I told y'all, scratch that Midwest shit off the list. So we have Arizona, we have Texas, or Austin, just for it being a tech hub and me working in tech. But I went to Austin. Austin's not my cup of tea. Austin is, somewhat remnants of Nashville, right? It's still room to grow. And it did have a big tech hub though, but I just felt like all I would be doing is working and going home, which is probably, but it's somewhere where there's a little of life, right? Social life. I scratched off the list, went to Dallas. And when I say I'm going, I just went for to Dallas. Dallas was cool, but I ended up not making a decision and not finding something that was suitable for me. So I ended up going to Houston just to check out Houston. Houston was a lot better experience for me. The weather was better at the time. Now Texas, crazy bugs, man. Like different bugs. I'm talking about like when you see geckos and lizards and all that shit, man. I'm from the Ville, man, Nashville. We don't see none of that shit, man. Geckos, these old different kinds of snakes and shit like that. Rats and gophers and black and white spiders, man. It'd be about that big, man. Dude, this is some shit down here, man. But other than in roads and shit like that, man, the roads is trash. But the roads is trash in Nashville too. But the difference is the side road. So like the highway ass in Nashville. Here, every road is ass. So man, it just still has some room for growth. But one of the things that I did like was that, like I said, there's somewhat event social vibe, right? Like you can stuff, right? You can go skydiving here. You can go what's that called again? Cidercade. Yeah, for the nerds like me. You can do all that stuff too. Space Centers. Man, this is a big city, man. Big. Like, nice size, but nah, here's huge. And here reminds me a lot of Atlanta, once the size. Atlanta's big too. But another thing, cultural. Just seeing a bunch of diversity, but seeing a lot of people out here getting it. Seeing a lot of people out here on the grind, right? I'm seeing all kinds of cars and homes and man, it's a bunch of motivation down here, man. So that sort of swayed my from Dallas. Like that too, don't get me wrong, but it's not much, right? And it's probably due to the fact that Houston is bigger, But I mean, like a town, even in the hoods down here, which, I ended up rolling mistake. But even in the hoods here, man, you see just people with like crazy cars, Saab and Rolls Royce and shit. Like, I'm like, the Rolls Royce in the hood, that's a problem. But hey, man, still motivation. And seeing some people do it, it's like, man, he's Brian. I wonder what he does. I wonder, what avenue to find him comfortable and successful. And just to talk to people like that, right? Like you want those types of environments if this is your fourth in yourself. You want to be in those type of environments. So yeah, it was for me. Like once I settled in the city, then it was just finding the right spot, right? At first I was gonna be like a little bit outside of the city, right? A lot of the surrounding areas like Katy, Humble, all that kind of stuff. But being that I wanted, again, a multi-family and doing what I want to do, which is, Airbnb as rental, I felt that I needed to go in the city. And the city has, like I told you, it's really big. So, you have like up and coming, you have your areas, and then you have your good areas, like places like Montrose, you have Medical Center, you have Kirby, you have to an extent Road. As long as you don't go too far down Telephone Road, you'll be all right. Those are just a few that I can remember just doing my duty myself. But there's a lot of different areas on east side of town that are nice. Yeah, I ended up going and checking some spots, putting in a few places. I was man, just things, the appraisal, just things I wanted done to the property. Like I didn't want to put any money into rehabbing a property when I ain't gonna hold you. I was blowing my money down in Yale, MIA. So didn't really have those backup reserves or funds or anything like that. I just had what I had from those whips, from saving, and then my job income and stuff like that. So pretty much I'm looking for what they call ready to go out the gate. So of course it's more expensive, right? But it's what it is. I ended up finding like maybe a few after I started searching. I was also looking in Arizona too, though. I went and I love Phoenix, man. As some do plan on buying a property in Phoenix, it just has to be the right property, right? Like I need something that's not, what do you call, like Mexican style built. I need something that's like modern, one that's not 60 years in age. It has to be multi. So I still have Phoenix on my hit list, just haven't made it there yet. So yeah, man, I ended up getting a spot here in Houston, and yeah, man, it's told y'all bugs and all that shit. I was like, man, yeah, I just get pest control, all that. Right, I got pest control in Miami. It's been pretty good to me so far. So, they have stuff, the right chemicals, they'll take care of your stuff. So yeah, man, I've been here for 9 months. 9 months. Year mark comes up, I will start looking again, and I'm able to start doing some of this stuff is right. So like, say for instance, I have Airbnb units, right? I still have a job. Sorry about that. I still have a job, so I'm able to offset this mortgage by the income from the Airbnb and the rental, as well as save money from my job, from my W-2. And yeah, man, I'm doing credit clean, and just keep your eyes, man, keep alert. You can do this every year. If you want to go more in depth about how to do that kind of process with the homes. Oh, speaking of which, that's one of the things that I want to do. So, like I told you, I have goals, right? So, this property's cool, but eventually I want to move into other types of businesses as well, right? This right here, I want to get it to a point to where, it runs. My cleaners are cool. Pest control, care, it's automated. That's how it is. Then I want to hop back into transportation. I got a plan. It ain't that. No, I ain't doing that Turo shit. I can have that rental. I don't want nothing to do with that. But yeah, just other ventures here, well, in other cities as well. So got to lock up. I'm saving capital. For my next spot, which I haven't honed on the exact city yet. But I'll let you guys know when I figure it out. Yeah, so just grinding, man. Working a job, still putting my money, different assets that are working for me. And yeah, man, the chase is on, and that's pretty much what just made me say, hey, I can do something else with my life, man. I with life. So yeah, if there's something you want to know about my journey so far, which I feel like I'm just getting started, yeah, just leave a comment down in the comment section. I'll give you as much, advice. But yeah, man,